Big Sills! Truly the first week of exhibition football. And now we're here. Okay, we're just a few weeks out from the start of the NFL season. You know, I tell you something about your guy in Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts. I don't know how people look at him. Some people love him. Some people don't. Some people don't believe in him. And if you haven't been watching his progress, you really don't know what to put an evaluation on him. Here, let me throw this at you here. Let me show you how the national media thinks of Jalen Hurts. This is Nick Wright. This isn't me. Nick Wright said, if your biggest question mark as a quarterback is your ability to consistently throw the ball, you can't be the second best quarterback in the NFL. There's some truth to that, but that's not everything that. So you're trying to tell me that you have more faith in Justin Herbert because he can throw the ball better? My only contention has been with Hurts, he's not the passer those guys are. But on the other hand, wouldn't we all agree that the National Football League is getting more away from the pocket guy and going more towards the dual threat guy? And why is that? Here's the number one reason that Jalen is in the now and that even Joe Burrow is in the past. What's the difference today when you're building a team? What is the number one problem that you have every year when it comes to NFL teams? What's the number one problem? What's the number one problem? Turnover. Nobody brings the same team back. Nobody brings the same team back. So what does that mean? Well, when you start paying a guy, you start losing people in the O-line. That's where all your millionaires are. The number one position group in the NFL is offensive line. There's 5 of them. So you start systematically losing O-linemen. That means your guy's got to be able to get out of trouble. Not just throw himself out of trouble like they used to in the past. You can't hoard players like you used to anymore. The biggest problem with the Eagles this year is depth and experience, not bad players. Most teams in the NFL have this issue. They don't have a lot of good players, and they have no depth. And they can't manage their cap. That's where they're great at. The Eagles limit the damage in each offseason since I've been covering them. So I couldn't believe this, but you guys had me rolling more towards you and Jalen going, do I believe Justin Herbert gives me a better chance to win a Super Bowl than Jalen Hurts? I don't know. I think that Charger team's loaded. Would I say that Justin Herbert had a better year than Jalen last year? Everything being equal, right? I mean, would we not agree? Austin Eckler, pretty good back, right? Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, I don't know. Pretty good offensive line. Left tackle's one of the best. I know he got hurt. Would you look at Justin Herbert and go, did you underachieve last year? Losing a 27-point lead in the playoffs? I mean, I look at that and go like that. Under his notion, Nick Wright, because you throw the ball better, gives you a better opportunity to win in the NFL. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't. I think everything we've been talking about with Hurts here over the last 2 years has been positive, and I'll tell you why. I know some of you, and even Tone shakes his head sometimes. But what is the one common denominator that has happened every single time that Jalen Hurts plays a ball game? He's been working on the things that he had deficiencies on. He's getting better, and the conversation is elevating, not deteriorating. With Wentz, it went like this. Bang. Right? Dude, I get the 1 year thing. That's my big, I want to see him do it again. I do. I mean, but I want to also see Justin Herbert win a ball game in the postseason. You made him the highest paid player. There's a lot of heat on his ass as well now. We got some great topics today. And I want to do this, and I can't believe here we go with another positive spin with Hurts here. So I saw a little bit of the clips of the Johnny Manziel thing on Netflix. Not that I'm going to sit around and watch it. And he said that he's never been in a position where he watched film as a quarterback in the NFL. I never realized until Tone said this to me, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. I never realized that I had to give you kudos for doing what's expected, but I guess today I do. Who in their right mind would not want to be overly prepared to play the position of quarterback so that you can get wins and the riches that come with it? I want the paychecks and the cheerleaders. And sitting around and not preparing yourself like Kyler Murray. Johnny Manziel is just one of. Look at Kyler Murray. They had to put that study hall addendum in his contract until they realized they were in bed. Do you understand the only reason that the Cardinals pulled that out of the Kyler Murray contract is because it embarrassed them? That you had to give a guy that kind of money at $46.1 million, and you gave that guy all that money, and then you realize this guy doesn't really take the game serious. I didn't realize there were so many of the guys like that, especially at that position. The highest paid position in American football is the quarterback position. And you don't want to show up and just get this. Think about what I'm going to say to you here about what Jalen Hurts does better than just about everybody in the league. Watch this. Jalen Hurts studies harder than everyone in the NFL. And here's the difference with Jalen and some of these other gifted guys. It takes no talent to study. It takes no talent to be prepared. You don't have to be talented to study. You don't have to be talented to prepare yourself for something. Dedication is not talent. Dedication is willpower. It's willpower. It's a desire that you have in you. That's what separates certain guys. That has, I tell my daughter this too. Being in shape takes no talent. Being prepared, you don't have to be athletically gifted to be prepared, to be in shape, to study, to understand the nuances of the game. Okay? You don't have to. I mean, it's awesome. Good for him. And then what you do is you sit here and you go, Jalen is the, I didn't realize when the first thing you say about Hurts is he's so prepared and he's so dedicated and he's so this and that. I guess that I have to do this. Well, I surely hope that dedication, in my opinion, is with your quarterback, because if it's not, you're not going to beat Hurts. Not to make excuses, but today there are way more distractions, which makes it too easy for guys to get fat off their minimal success, or attention spans are dwindling. Social media inflates these guys' egos and overflates their importance and work ethic and dedication. Today it's at a premium. Tone, I'm going to say something to you guys here, and maybe I humble myself to you guys. So I'm going to humble myself to you. Yeah, I understand what Johnny Manziel did. I failed too like that. Wasn't about ability. It was studying. I didn't realize that once I got all the money, what Tone just said, Tone, when I got $600,000 put in my bank account, I had all the money in the world. I could do anything I wanted. I forgot the little things that got me to where I was. It's funny when I sat in my locker for the first time, not to make excuses. This is my fault. Totally 100% on me. You know, my first question was to myself when I had my Buccaneer helmet in my hand, what do I do next? And this is what makes Hurts mature. He knew what to do next. He knew to work hard. That's why I never take days off. I said if I ever got into a position in something that I loved, I would be dedicated and I would never take a day off and I would never do a layup. And I found it in broadcasting. I haven't taken a personal day off in 3 years. That's how that situation impacted me because I let my NFL career go through my fingers. I lost it. Something I live with every day. I had it in my hand. I had it. I had it. Easily lost. So I understand. I understand where Manziel was. All the money, all the fame. What happens is you look up. Thank you, Michael. Do you know the biggest thing I'll never forget? Get this. I watched myself sometimes on film when I was with the Bucks, and I went like this. I can't believe I'm not running to the ball from the backside. And I used to run people down. All the film I watched at UM, I got to the Bucks, I didn't do enough of it. God has different plans for you. You have an amazing show. Thank you, guys. This is why, though. Okay? This is why I failed. Look, and that's why I had to string together 7 years of pro football in different leagues around the world. I found it too late. So Manziel, I don't have any sympathy for you, but I have an understanding for you. It'll haunt you for the rest of your life. So this is why you have something in Jalen Hurts. That Jalen Hurts has just been given $255 million. He didn't want to do the Netflix thing. He's turned it down a couple times. He's so focused. And you know what? That is humility. That is leadership. That is focus. That is never letting the moment get too big. That's why that kid is going to outperform Justin Herbert. Because of that willpower. He's not more talented than him, but he's going to will himself past him. That's the difference in dudes. Trust me when I tell you, I see guys that I played with, they're having all these great successes, and I put my head down and I go, that guy backed me up and got me water. Rich McKay comes on and tells you how they didn't play. I didn't care. It was me. That's why when I see Manziel, and to Tone's point, hey, man, he didn't watch film. I understand. All of a sudden, you're given something you've never been given before, and you lose focus. It's easy when you got $10,000 in your pocket or $20,000 in your pocket, and I've had that. It's the winning and losing in that is not just on the field. Jay Busco Sills, you are a hater, but you're our hater. We got you. Dion is perfect. Watch this, Dion. Brady wasn't the most talented, but you couldn't bet against him. Dion, let me just change it for you. Hurts wasn't the most talented, but you couldn't bet against him. Doesn't it fit? Wasn't it fit? Doesn't it fit? Right? Hey, and sometimes, guys, when I talk to you, if it sounds like I'm coming from a place of success, I'm not. I'm coming from a place of failure because I let it loose. That's why when someone goes like this to me, oh, Sills, you were a bust and you're ripping on Jordan Davis. You're damn right. Don't be that kid. Don't let a cheeseburger get in your way, son. Don't let a cheeseburger get in your way because you'll regret it later. That's where I come from. You heard Rich McKay, who was the GM of the Bucs then. Most talented guy in our D-line, but maybe at times the most immature guy in our D-line. Jalen had haters on his own team at Alabama. Jalen had haters on his own team in Philly, and he won them over with dedication, hard work, and being genuine. That's why when I see these stories like Manziel, you have to love Jalen Hurts. Okay? Quan goes, we're your therapist, Sills. How does it make you feel? I'm not sure at times. Quan, I'm not. Hey, too much time at Hooters? Hey, my friend, I don't know if it's too much time at Hooters. Okay? I don't think it well, maybe it was Hooters. Okay? Okay? Maybe it was Hooters. All right? Dan criticizes the Eagles, but hey, Ray, it's all good, my friend. It's absolutely all good. Okay? All good, my friends. All good. Okay, let's do this now. I want to ask you this question here about Hassan Reddick. Let me go here. Let's do this about Reddick. And then I'm gonna say something to you guys. And because Lamar Jackson, you guys, and we're playing against Lamar and the Ravens, I don't think Lamar's going to play in a couple days. But I want to talk about Lamar Jackson a little bit here. How many people believe that Hassan Reddick is underpaid? How many people believe that Hassan's underpaid? Thank you, Coast. Coastal Kid, I appreciate that. Big Sills, you're the guy we love to hate or hate to love. Just like I said, sandpaper at first, but you usually... I like that. That's good. Hurts ain't going to play. I'm not putting that kid on the field. Sway says, I believe. Based off of last year, yeah. So let me do this. Here are the 5 highest paid edge rushers in the NFL, okay? TJ Watt averages about $28 million a year. $80 guaranteed. He's a free agent in 2026. Joey Bosa for the Chargers, $27 million per, $78 guaranteed, 2026. He's a free agent. Khalil Mack, $23.5. Max Crosby with the Raiders, $23.5. And Chubb at $22 million. Reddick is 16th. And he makes $15 million with $30 million guaranteed. He's 29 years old. He's the same age as TJ Watt. Is Hassan Reddick TJ Watt? No. Is he Khalil Mack? Is he better than Khalil Mack? Who would I pay right now? 32-year-old Mack or 29-year-old Hassan Reddick? I'm going to go Reddick. Did you hear what I said? Mack makes $23.5. Okay? Right? Mack has fallen off. To me, Reddick's he's better than Khalil Mack. Is he better than Von Miller? Miller got hurt. He's older. Who would you take? Would I take Von Miller or would I take Reddick? Here's why Reddick, though, doesn't make the $20 million and he makes the $15. TJ Watt is not leading the NFL in third down sacks, cause fumbles. He's a sack machine. Okay? He's a sack machine. What Reddick does is so different than these other guys. He's like a one-of. Okay? Dude, one of the greatest edge rushing years I've ever seen is Hassan Reddick. 19 and a half sacks, all the games he played. Number one in third down sacks, caused fumbles. That's a holy terror. Do I think he's a $20 million a year guy? I do. But I think he's limited. I think he's limited. And this is why the other teams couldn't figure him out. Because they tried to play him traditionally. You guys understand what I'm saying when I say that? They tried to play him traditionally where he covered and where he would be in coverage, instead of just doing this. Well, he's not the best at it. He's not best at covering backs out of the backfield. Just line this SOB up and let him hit people. And that's what he did. And that's why Carolina and Arizona couldn't figure out this thing. And the Eagles were able to. The Eagles and Reddick changed the company. Watch this. 2 years ago, you're not talking about him being one of the premier edge rushers. Not a chance. The second guy outside of Judon in New England's better. Not now. Because they figured out how to utilize his skill set. Quan goes, no way we can afford $21 million. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's a free agent in 2025. You're talking about a 31-year-old guy then. Are you going to pay $31 million, or would you give him more money at the end of this year and start to put it? Here's what I would do. If Reddick puts up 12 or more sacks, that's all he needs. To me, 12 or more sacks. I'm going to give him a Darius Slade deal, and I'm going to go on one-year deals. Kind of spread it out over 3 so I can give him signing bonus money. And this is how I'm going to pay him. I don't know, Tone, if or any of you guys agree with this, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to lower that cap hit. And I'm going to do what they did on his initial sign. I'm going to give him a ton of money and put him on a 2-year contract and go like this. Here's $30 million again, 2 years. Guaranteed money. Lower his base. Making around 20. Well, I give him $40 million. I give him almost all that money up front. Lower the cap hit so that he's not a casualty on the cap. Figure out the signing bonus money and lower that cap hit and do what Junior Do a junior deal like you did for Jalen and Slay. The Eagles, in my opinion, at the end of this year, if he puts 12 sacks up, if Reddick puts 12 sacks up this year, in my opinion, they're going to pay him at the end of the year. And what they're going to do is, I think they give him upfront money to lower that salary cap. You know what's funny? Big Pickin goes, you're learning Howie. Big Pickin, what's crazy is no one does this in the league, though. Chris goes, Sills, remember when you said Reddick didn't get off the bus to start the season? Then the guy got off. Correct. His production. Chris, once again, there is always a reason why a guy is on his third team in 3 years. It turns out those other teams were poorly run. Okay? You have a guy that's on his third team in 3 years who's had 2 seasons of double digit, now 3. There's always going to be a question mark for that. Always going to be a question mark. Okay? Sills, if Aaron Donald is available, would the Eagles pay the assets for him? No way. You got to let Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter eat. Don't panic. J-Bus, don't panic. Work these guys. I want to see, dude, you spent a lot of equity on this. Let these guys, let's let them play. No way. I'm not doing any of that. Not happening. Okay? Let these guys play here. So to me, again, I'm going to pay Reddick if he has 12 or more sacks at the end of the season. Okay? I'm going to give him upfront money, lower the cap, give him a 2-year contract. And and then you know what you do when you go to the player? Here's $40 million guaranteed money, 2-year contract. You lower the cap down to $10 million per season. The player goes like this. Well, it's not exactly 20, but hey, okay. Because I got money in the bank. Players want the money in the bank. They don't want to be told what they can make in 5 years. No one believes ownership. If you came to me and went, here's a 5-year contract at $100 million, I would look at you and go, what's the signing bonus? $25 million. That ain't happening. Okay? That ain't happening. I want guarantees of over half of that. I want $70 million guaranteed. No way, here's 20. Well, then it's a $20 million contract. These guys fool the public with these deals. I'm talking ownership. In Philly, they don't fool you. Here's how Philly does business. Watch this. Philly does business like this. I'm not paying you. Here's your bag of money, and let's work a deal where we can have a low cap hit. Are you in? Yes. It's the most honest thing you could possibly tell a player. It's the most honest thing that you can have in your organization. I'm not paying you. I'm paying you. Here's your money. We're going to structure a deal where you're not going to kill us on a cap hit next year. Okay. That's why there's no noise in contracts. Philadelphia, they construct the quietest deals I've ever seen. Even the stupid Daniel Jones deal is bad. Look around the league and how shitty. Look at the Prescott deal. Holy shit, is that thing a nightmare? Okay? That thing's a nightmare. And Jerry Jones is screaming at him in practice. Big Sil's always going to be your biggest supporter, no matter your terrible takes, respect, busting butt every day for our entertainment. Thank you, dude. Hoss, Philly, I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't have it any other way. You want to do, hey, Hey, Philly, you want to do soft sports talk? Go to California and listen to the snowflake sports talk you have in California. Honestly, it's the worst. I've never, except KNBR is a good sports station. I'm proud I worked at that station in San Francisco. But the rest of it is dog shit. It's soft. The fans are soft. Just soft. They show up in the third inning for Dodger games and leave in the sixth because they want to beat traffic. Try that at Lincoln Financial when you're playing the Cowboys. Okay? Try that when you're out there and you're putting your hard-earned backbone into those season tickets you're paying for. Okay? All right. That's how. Do I think Reddick's going to have 12 sacks this year? I do. So, look, you put 16. If you put 28 sacks up in 2 years in Philadelphia in the regular season, you put 20. You almost put 30 sacks up. Are you paying that guy? Shit, I am. Where are you getting that? Now, if Nolan, here's the problem. There's a problem, though, for Hassan Reddick. Here's the problem with Reddick. What is Reddick's biggest problem? What do you think Hassan Reddick's biggest problem is? What's his biggest problem? Regardless of how people may feel about you, Sills, when they leave this show, they will say to themselves, man, I can't stand that guy, but boy, I was entertained. I think that's kind of what Tone says. Look at Neil. Look at Micah. You're damn right, guys. Way to be on it, man. You guys are on your A game today. No, 85. I think it's Nolan Smith. Because here, if you're Howie, you watch Nolan Smith get around the corner and you see him hitting people and you see that he could be an heir apparent and he's on a rookie contract. Are you going to feel compelled to give him market money, Hassan Reddick, if he has 12 sacks or more at the end of this year when you know that kid has a potential to have maybe a higher ceiling? Something to think about. Because what Howie has done there, it's brilliant. Howie knows you, and the league actually knows you have to have guys like Nolan Smith. Because I don't know if you guys agree with me on this. We all agree the NBA doesn't have the pivot man anymore, right? They believe in the hybrid five, right? Big power forwards playing the five. Okay, they don't really believe in centers anymore. They believe in hybrid fives. I think the NFL is more going towards those outside linebacker guys and wanting to get away from guys like Nick Bosa. And if I could have 4 Nolan Smiths, that to me is where I think the league is today. Can cover, can rush. He's multifaceted. Not just a 3-down lineman. I think the league has gone hybrid. Okay? And I think you've got to be ahead of the game. If you look at the big edge rushers now, they're all like Parsons, Nolan Smith, Chase Young healthy. Okay? Right? That's the style that I think. You have the luxury of having Smith for 5 years on a rookie deal. That's the point. Would you really feel how about if Nolan Smith, would we not agree? How about this, guys? If Nolan Smith drops 7 sacks this year, are you going to pay Hassan Reddick at the end of the year $20 million? I don't know if I'm doing that. Okay? I don't know. Then he's 29. Still 30 sacks in 2 years. You're in a really good position because I'd like to have both of them. So maybe what Howie does, and the owner's so good at this. Here's a 2-year contract, bag of money up front. Let's work a Slay deal, and let's see where the chips fall where they may. You know we're going to pay you. That's how I'd look at him. So being overpaid, I don't think he is. I think he's being rightly paid. Hey, Sills, with Dak having great stats, especially against the Eagles, translated to failed seasons, are you still convinced that Dallas is going to be good? Ace, I'll tell you something, man. I'm going to talk about Dak because he's not having a good camp. Okay? He's not having a good camp. And does that matter, not having a good camp? I'm going to talk about that here. Before I get to Lamar, let's do that with Dak. Someone asked me a question. He threw 3 picks yesterday in practice. Is that a big deal? I said to you the other day about Jalen throwing a pick, and I didn't give a shit. I think you practice bad habits. Bad habits become part of your day, and they become part of your routine. So it's not so much that he's throwing picks in one practice. He's doing it every day. 3 picks here, 2 picks there, 3 picks the other day. It's just now you're hearing Jerry Jones even talking more and giving more praise to Cooper Rush. It's becoming something, and again, he's not a turnover machine. But now all of a sudden there's a little Wentz to him now where, dude, you're throwing 3 interceptions in practice, and you're doing this routinely. It's becoming part of like who you are. And I think if you keep continuing this trend, you mean to tell me you feel really comfortable going into the start of the season where all you did was throw picks during camp? I don't know. It just doesn't seem to me that, hey, maybe they're working on something different. Maybe they're working on something different here. Look, there's a lot of eyeballs on him. He's the quarterback of the Cowboys. I get it. But I don't think you can go into practice like that, throw 3 picks every day, walk away with yourself going, I'm ready for the 2023 season. Now, look, I'm not going to sit here and go like this. I don't give a shit what Pauly Shore and those WIP stats he puts out there. I don't care about that either. But if I heard this, hey, Jalen's throwing picks every day, that'd be a concern for me. Hey, Jalen's throwing a bunch of touchdowns. I wouldn't care about that. I'm expecting that. It's practice. It's practice. It's a controlled environment. Prescott's throwing picks in controlled environments? I don't know. What is Mike McCarthy teaching? What are you doing that's so different this year than last year? I don't know. It's just, again, I don't really think that's a good sign. If that's Dallas, I'm not happy about that look, especially at $50 million. I'm not happy about that. Okay? That wouldn't be something I'm happy on. Okay? Here. I want to do something here. We asked a question yesterday about Jalen Hurts versus Lamar Jackson. And I want to give you my honest assessment of Lamar and where he is compared to Jalen. And these are the 2 best dual threat guys in the sport. Is there anyone else you would throw in there? Kyler Murray is not in the league of Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson. I do not believe he's in the league of these 2 guys. You know why? These 2 guys win. Okay? They win. They're in really great organizations. Okay? Okay? Justin Fields, I don't see the passing yet. Allen, now, Allen throws for 4,500 yards every year. Both Hurts and Lamar do not throw for 3,500 yards or 4,500 yards every year. Those 2 guys are not going to throw for 4,500 yards. Okay? So here's my honest take on Lamar Jackson versus Jalen Hurts. This is my honest. I think Lamar, and this is the Ravens, and this is who the Eagles are playing in their first exhibition game. I think Lamar Jackson is one of the most skilled and exceptional athletes at the position the NFL has. He is an exceptional athlete. I know his family. I know him. He is skilled. He's exceptional. He is a better athlete than Jalen Hurts. Overall, a better athlete. Now, again, that doesn't translate into being a better quarterback. Remember, separate the two here. And don't get butthurt until I'm done. He has shown he can carry a football team. He's carried a football team to a 45-16 record. He has carried a team to wins over Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen. He's beaten those guys. His style of play is the concern. How long can he last? We're starting to see a little bit of that decay the last couple of years here. Now, I'm going to do something here, and this is what we talked about with Jalen Hurts. And I'm going to tie this in here with Lamar Jackson versus Hurts here. Off the field, it's kind of chaotic in a way. And it doesn't match on the field, his mentality. I want you to follow me here where Jalen Hurts is different than Lamar and made different than Lamar. So, Lamar Jackson made business decisions last year off the field, right? Would you agree with me? He made business decisions. Maybe he was 85% and he didn't play. Maybe he was 75% for the playoffs and he didn't play because he didn't have his bag of money yet, right? Right? Do you guys agree he made business decisions? He's 1-3 in the playoffs, which is by far not good enough. But I would say this to you, where Jalen Hurts makes smart business decisions off the field, he also makes them on the field. Why doesn't Lamar Jackson do business decisions on the field instead of off the field? And what I mean by that is slide. Throw the ball out of bounds. If you have to get down, get down. Have better awareness around you. You're off the field, the no agent, the bitching back and forth, the miscommunication. You should be, again, maybe that's part of the problem here with him on the field. Jalen Hurts makes business decisions that are successful to his team. Okay? Every decision he makes for the betterment of the team and for the betterment of his being able to get up and play another play. All the things that Lamar does off the field, he made a business decision off the field. Why can't you have that same mentality that Jalen has on the field? Do you understand where I'm coming from? If you could sit out a playoff game or NFL football games at the end of the year because you think it's in the best interest of your career, why can't you have that same mentality on the field for the betterment of your team and for the success of your team and yourself by doing the right thing, by getting down, not running as much, making it? I don't think that Lamar makes anybody better around him. Possibly the tight end. And someone would go like this, well, Sills, he hasn't had the skill set. Like I told you before, I don't think you have to have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith to be successful. Ask Tom Brady. Ask Patrick Mahomes. I don't think you have to have superstar wideouts to be successful. I think you got to make smart decisions. This guy making a business decision not to play in football games and then turning around in the reckless play that you play on the field. Why don't you practice both of it? I think Hurts practices both. Hurts is running up the sidelines. I tell you how important that play is when I watched him in Detroit. Hurts is running up the sidelines. Instead of throwing it into double coverage like Wentz would, or Allen, or Lamar, he throws it out of bounds. He'd rather take the incomplete pass instead of a minus play or a tip or a potential turnover and play another play. Do you know how smart that is? That's as good as figuring out the right play in an RPO. Do you know how important those plays are? Do you know how many of those plays that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson take as minus plays versus Jalen Hurts? How many minus plays do you remember last year where you saw Hurts take a minus play, where he was tackled in the backfield or sacked or a pick? They were limited. Okay? They were limited. Limited. Okay? Hey, Christopher goes, Hurts is overhyped. You know why they're overhyping him? Because they see how the guy conducts himself. And they're not going to overhype his arm. All these guys are overhyped. Watch this. So if Jalen Hurts is overhyped, is Justin Herbert overhyped? Is Kyler Murray? Is Trevor Lawrence? Is Aaron Rodgers? Are these guys overhyped too? Is Dak? They're all overhyped. This guy's making it sound like Hurts is the only guy overhyped. Every guy in the freaking league at quarterback's overhyped. Baker Mayfield's overhyped. They're all overhyped. All of them. So, again, the one thing about Lamar to me, dude, do me a favor. Make some smart business decisions on the field. You need to take a page out of Jalen Hurts' page and out of his book and understand that that guy has done the things. And again, you know what's crazy? It is only 1 year, and I am not ever going to call anybody this or that or say this and elite this or that. 2018 on that same bullshit list, Carson Wentz was number 3. So give me a break. That's a respect list. It's not the best players in the sport, but it's a list I'd want to be on. Not lying. Okay? Not lying. So when you hear it, Lamar Jackson's got to be smart. I'm looking forward to watching him play this year. I really am. Okay. So Kobe Dean was limited today. How many people think he should be playing in the first preseason game? He is going to miss a full week of practice over an ankle injury. Chris goes, again, what? See, what Chris doesn't get, that would be like you playing a football game without Hurts and never having a quarterback practice. And then put him in the game against New England. Here's a perfect comparison to this. Say Jalen Hurts wasn't going to be your starting quarterback. Would you sign a guy off the street and think you could beat New England? Do you think you could sign a guy off the street and beat New England? Hey, if he was a Will or Sam, probably. but your quarterback or your defense will miss significant time. Boy, I'll tell you what, too, man. You go on the internet, man. Miles Jack is already the next Jeremiah Trotter. It's quite funny and hilarious to watch. It really is. Miles Jack's going to be a stud. Miles Jack was fired and took a pay cut to come to Philly. Okay? He was fired in Pittsburgh, the home of linebackers. Don't go there. Seriously, you go on the internet and you would think that all of a sudden Miles Jack and Nakobe Dean are Hugh Douglas and Jeremiah Trotter. It's funny to listen to and watch. Not true. Kaiser and Reddick were fired. Reddick got $15 million and a $30 million bag of money. Kaiser White got $1.5 million and just got a raise. Kaiser White made $1.5 million last year in Philly and signing bonus money. There was more of an investment into Kaiser a year ago. He was a better player. You've invested nothing in these guys. Nothing. So when you're limited in your resources, as we said, the great thing about the Eagles and how they do business is this. We're paying you. We're not paying you. We don't believe in that position. We believe in this position. What happened this year with the defense is that multiple positions are going to be affected at the same time. Whereas before, last year, you didn't have your tackles affected and your linebackers and your safeties affected at the same time. Okay? Howie needed one more. You had Epps. I liked Epps. I told everyone last year in the offseason, I want to see this guy get a chance. He just got a $7 million raise playing for the Raiders now. Okay? Ace goes, Foles was fired and ended up being a Super Bowl MVP. Okay. But you have multiple dudes on your team that have been fired. Multiple. Cunningham, Jack, Edmonds. These guys have all been canned. Morrow. There's multiple guys with no money. Again, I'm not going to relitigate this again and go back over this again. The problem that I have, and I'm circling back again, Nakobe Dean's a problem. He's a problem. He's not, again, getting the reps. How about this? I'm not even going to talk about his ability. Let's leave that to another day until we see him play more. How about that? You want to be fair? Okay. Let's be completely fair on Nakobe Dean here. We'll take ability out of the conversation, whether he's good or not, or a bust, or a star, or an all-pro. Let's take that out of the conversation. Do you honestly believe that he's going to be ready for New England, having seen no time, he plays a week, misses a week, and you believe a guy who had 34 snaps is going to be ready for the opener against New England on the road? And you guys are going like this. Well, New England doesn't have a lot of stars. They don't need stars to beat someone who never played. This is the NFL. And there's a backup there that you're hoping your back is. That Stevenson kid is better than Swift. You know why? He's done something Swift didn't do. He's got 1,000 yards, 60 catches, and 500 yards receiving. You're hoping for that guy to do that. You're hoping for DeAndre Swift to do that. He's done it in the AFC. $85, Dan, Jack had 104 combined tackles and 61 solo. I'll take that guy off the street. Okay. Who covers the 100 solo tackles and 160 tackles of a year ago? A guy who's missing a full week of practice? That guy? Hey, by the way, someone help me out here on this. How many games did TJ Edwards play last year? Actually, let's do this. Be fair. How many games did TJ Edwards play the last 2 years? How many games did he play? Just do the regular season. Out of the 34 games, how many games did TJ Edwards play? Myles Jack has got a career being hurt. Okay? 85, I'm not saying Nakobe Dean's soft. That's not where that's not. Hey, and by the way, Ray, he played all of them. Here's the one thing about Nakobe Dean at Georgia and why people say, well, he played in really a great defense. Well, Georgia's defense killed everyone. And look at the people he had in front of him. Wyatt, Davis, Carter. Look at the people he had in front of him. He had an elite defensive line in front of him in college. 29 says he played 33 of the 34 games he played in as a starting Mike linebacker. Next 2 years, you think Nakobe Dean starts in 34 games or 33 games out of the 34? He can't even get through a week of practice. Do you really want to risk him hurting his ankle more in one preseason game? So WCB, let me ask you this then. They're in a pickle here. This is the problem that they've put themselves in. They should have known better and brought Edwards back. Because now that he's missing significant time, how about this? How about the communication and listening to each other on the field? There's going to be a communication issue. Why is that? Because he hasn't practiced. He hasn't played. You think you're just going to get out there and start barking signals and strengths when nobody knows what you're talking about? Dude, playing next to each other and knowing everything that people – how many times has Seth Joyner come on here and said that communication is one of the most important things you possibly can have? I don't give a shit how smart he is. Hey, just because a doctor draws up how to do a heart surgery on a chalkboard doesn't mean he can do it. We're going to do something here at the top of the hour here. Yeah, we're going to do this at the top of the hour here. I'm going to show you how crazy it is around the league when it comes to the quarterback conversation and how insane it is and how where the Eagles are right now and some other football teams. If you don't have that position nailed down on August 9th, you're not winning. You're not winning. It's not happening. Okay? It's just not. All right. Hey, do not forget, next couple days here, especially Thursday, when we're talking about preseason football. This is your home for preseason football, and we are so proud to say this. Hooters and my great relationship of over 35 years, the official home of the National Football Show in 2023 is indeed Hooters, King of Prussia. We're so proud to be part of it with Phil and everyone else and everybody there, all the general managers. This is going to be your place also for you to get your fantasy football leagues, get their drafts. Hey, you better call them because from what I'm understanding, seats are limited. All the preseason ball, this is going to be your one destination for all your fantasy and your NFL preseason. And as we get into the regular season, this is the official home of the Philadelphia Eagle fans, King of Prussia Hooters. Daily specials. Buy 10 wings, get 10 boneless wings free. How about on Wednesdays? One of the legendary events that's been going on for 40 years. This is the 40th anniversary of Hooters. All you can eat Wednesdays, 1983. Kids eat for free on Saturdays. Also, try the fried pickles. This is one of the coolest things, too, you can do. $6, 6 items, your favorite brew, and your food. Pickles, those fried pickles are some of the best. Also, 6 boneless wings. Put all 6 items together for $6. It's amazing. 240 North Gulf Road, King of Prussia. And do me a favor, when you go to Hooters, make sure you tell them Big Sil sent you.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction. Go with trust.
Go Birds!
And go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, did you know I was the Mommy Slam Dunk Champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up, mama!
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Aaron Rodgers could never play in Philadelphia. Not a chance. Some of you might want him. Aaron Rodgers could never play in a city like Philadelphia. Not a chance. There's really only 2 cities that he could play for. 2 places that you could be a bullshit artist. LA and New York. You could be a bullshit artist in New York. Because New Yorkers buy bullshit artists. You could sell them a bill of goods. Los Angeles, phoniest place on the planet. They love phonies. They embrace phonies. Okay? You know, I watched Hard Knocks last night. I don't know. Why am I feeling like I feel like a talent agent or what do you call them? Like a casting director. Got a hold of Aaron Rodgers and said, let's redo your entire persona so that we can sell it better to people. I came away watching that from Hard Knocks going, I don't know, man. Why do I feel like I'm being sold a used car? It's just, maybe I'm wrong. There's just some people you go, so wait a minute, for 17 years, Aaron Rodgers was that guy in Green Bay. But all of a sudden now, he's a great teammate. He's helping people. He's funny in front of the cameras. He's not aloof. It just seems that to me, like this guy's like got a casting director and a public relations person, and they sat down and they said, how can we market this guy better where he'll be able to be sellable? Because the last couple of years, Aaron Rodgers was not sellable. He or how about this? Believable. Okay, it's just like believable. Am I wrong? I don't know who saw it. Maybe you saw a completely different Aaron Rodgers. But to me, it just, I went like this. Who is that guy? Is really that the same guy who for 17 years, and I'm supposed to believe because he's in New York and he's happier now? Okay. I don't know, man. Christopher goes, Philly's a shithole. That's how some people would look at Philadelphia. Of course you would. Because you're used to being lied to, Chris. I think that city's spectacular. Spectacular. I love the cops. Watched Army-Navy game with them cops. Had a great time. Admiral and myself and my cousin. I posted a picture on my Twitter with the Philadelphia police. All of them there. Those jackets are dope too, man. I love them. Sat in a booth. Watched Army-Navy. Every time I go to Philadelphia, the Philadelphia police are always there for me. It's great. I have a great time when I go there. It's all good, man. As a matter of fact, anybody in here from Philadelphia and you see a guy like Chris say that shit, just go like this to Chris. Thank you. It's a merit badge. You hate me that much that you would disrespect my city? Thank you. I look at that shit as fuel. Love it. How do I feel about DeSantis? Politicians suck. All of them. They lie. They're thieves. They're dishonest. They're disingenuous. Anything with a dis, they're all of it. Politicians are worse than used car salesmen. Every one of them. Every party. All of them. Come to the conclusion, I hate them all. There, that's what you here. I don't look at one or the other and like this or that because then we get into problems. They all suck. You don't have our best interest. One thing before I move on here to Derek Barnett. How is it when you go to Washington, you don't have a lot of money, but when you leave Washington and you're a congressman or senator, you're a billionaire? How's that possible? I didn't realize if you joined a crime family that you could become billionaires. I thought you represented the people. I think now you take advantage of the people. That's how I see politicians. I've never seen more people become billionaires being a politician. People own 10 homes. How's that possible? Stocks out the ass. Hundreds of millions of dollars on a $130,000 paycheck. How are you worth all this? Just makes no, I don't get it. I see, to me, being a politician is legalized organized crime. It's legalized organized crime. When you go to D.C., you know, there used to be the Lucchese, the Gambino family, the Versace family, all that. Scarfo family in Philly. Shit, you go to the D.C. family, that's the best crime family in the country. All right. So I guess Derek Barnett and Landon Dickerson got into a little Donnybrook today. I guess there was some cheap shot that were thrown and these guys got into a tussle. Here's the problem. Okay? Here's the problem you have with Derek Barnett. Instead of standing up for them yourself, you don't have that latitude to get back into an argument with someone because the second guy always gets caught. And for you, that has been your biggest problem. There was a great moment where he could have shown the coaches restraint. Even if he was in the right. Coaches don't want to hear, I'm right, coach, when you've had more penalties than sacks in your career. No one wants to hear it. You don't have that equity. It was a perfect moment, and he missed it. But Sills, Landon hit him late. So? Everyone hits Barnett late. Who's the guy that gets caught? Barnett. He needs to show maturity so that they can trust him. That would have been a great moment. The coaching staff would have went, Dickerson hit him cheap. But you know what he did? This gives me hope that in a game, when something goes sideways, that he could show some poise out there. Derek Barnett doesn't have poise. It's been the number one problem in his career. He doesn't have poise. To know where he is, that was a learning moment. Hey, getting back in a fight with Landon Dickerson is not what the coaches wanted to see, whether or not you're tough. They wanted to see if you could show restraint. Well, not fighting back means no, it doesn't. Not fighting back means he knows that some of the issues he's had in his career have not been because of ability. They've been because of mentality. Missed it. Missed opportunity for Derek Barnett. Coaches go back to watch that on film and go like this. It's not the point. It's not the point who's right. That's right. Jay, it's discipline. What's the one thing he doesn't show is discipline. That was a moment that he could have shown everyone, including his own teammates. Tone goes, you're absolutely right. It was a teaching moment and he failed. Again, how about this? After something like that, are you now more convinced that he's going to have another brain fart on the field? I am. He's lip service. He'll have more penalties this year than he will tackles for losses and sacks. He has not changed who he is. You have to practice that. Lost opportunity, son. Lost opportunity. Joseph goes, just cut Derek Barnett already. I'll tell you what, Joseph. The Eagles must really see a lot of Brandon Graham in him. He must be a good kid in the locker room. People must really like him. He must show up to meetings on time. But again, his discipline on the field and his field presence and awareness is nowhere. Here's a prime example of ability not holding you back, but you holding yourself back. I know now who Derek Barnett is. It would be different if he didn't already have discipline issues. The fact is he does. And he clearly still hasn't matured. That's the point. Does Landon Dickerson go out there getting into fights every single practice and during football games? You're not going to say shit to Dickerson. But with a guy that's got a track record, and the number one thing you heard from a coach a year ago, a head coach, and Nick Sirianni doing always something with that guy. You think that's changed? Always something with that guy? Holy shit, I wish I had a different I wish my head coach was saying something different about me than it's always something with that guy. Look at Yale. Don't spend a ton of time on Barnett. Don't worry. His candle wick doesn't have that long to burn. Yale. Okay? This is not an ability thing. It's a character thing. Had a great moment there. Hey, real quick before I move on, I'm going to show you something around the league here, which is crazy, and why the Eagles and a lot of teams, or not a lot, but a handful of teams in the NFC are going to have good years. Barnett fought Andre Dillard last year in week 1 in 2021. And Sirianni said it's always effing him. Sirianni didn't even have his house yet, and he already knew about Barnett. I'm sure that's changed. Not. So the word is now Niners in here. There he is. It's official. Trey Lance is the number 3 guy in the depth chart. I'm going to say this to you, Niner, and every Niner fan. You better trade that guy before the start of the season. And you better eat it. Because if you play that guy at all, it'll be a colossal train wreck. You get nothing for you to return. How about this? I would have never seen a guy who was picked, had to surrender 3 first-rounders, and you got 0 in return for him. Okay, I've never seen that. Like, I wouldn't give you a 7th rounder for – no, right now I'd probably give you a 5th rounder for him. Because who knows? I might give you a 5th rounder for him. I would never give you a 3 or 4 for that guy. Not a chance. That's all I think his value is. I think this guy is – Niner, you know what? You may be right. Okay? You may be right. Maybe you don't trade him and you just eat it and you just keep him and you just keep – and you can't cut him because that's even a bigger disgrace. If you cut a guy that you gave 3 years of your future up for, wow, man. Biggest colossal quarterback bust draft pick in the first round in NFL history is now in San Francisco, and it's Trey Lance. He's not even beating out Sam Darnold, who's on his 3rd team. Incredible. Wow. Man, the bigger bust than Ryan Leaf. Bigger bust than Leaf. It's not on the player's fault. Overdrafted 3 times. So do you understand when you say that, and I say that to you, that means in the 49ers' eyes, for the next 3 years, you would have drafted him in the 1st round every year for the next 3 years, no matter what. Bigger bust than Jamarcus Russell? Yeah. Yeah. He got on the field and you didn't give up 3 once for him. Shit, at least the Rams got draft picks. RG3 was Rookie of the Year. Absolutely. RG3, you gave up draft choices for a guy who got hurt. He was the Rookie of the Year his rookie season. Got the Skins to the playoffs. JM's right. Dude, even if Brock Purdy does pan out and is a functional quarterback, Even if he pans out, you gave 3 years of your future ones up for the guy. You kind of cover the pain of losing a quarterback, and you get the financial reward of having him making less than $1 million. That's true. But what about the 3 years of your future? See, again, it's not the fact that they missed on a 1. Everyone misses on a 1. The Eagles missed on a 1. Kind of, not really. Even Wentz is a 10 times more successful thing than Trey Lance. 10 times. Wow. It could have been worse, Sills. We could have paid a running back $50 million a year. Dude, I'll tell you what, though, Niner, you better hope McCaffrey don't get hurt. Because the amount of resources you gave up to Carolina to get Christian McCaffrey, if McCaffrey goes down and can't play, you would have lost 3 1s, all those 2s, and all those third-round draft choices. If that guy gets hurt, you got a lot of your future riding on McCaffrey's health, too. And if that guy doesn't stay healthy, I mean, it'll look like that movie Draft Day, but the guy not getting his draft picks back. He better play all 17 ball games. Hey, I'm just saying to you. Hey, one last thing, again, before I get around the NFL, I want to ask you this about Landon Dickerson. Here it is. $2025. End of the season this year. Landon Dickerson. Landon Dickerson's base salary is $2.1 million. Highest paid player in the game at left guard is Quentin Nelson. I think that dude's in Indianapolis. Does that sound right? He makes $20 million. He makes $20 million. Okay? So he makes 10 times the money that Landon Dickerson does. 10 times the money. Landon Dickerson is by far one of the most underpaid guys, if not the most underpaid player on the team. He's the most underpaid player on the team. No one is treated poor. Hey, Hassan Reddick can bitch about $5 million. This guy's making 10 times less, and he's been quiet about it. Okay? And in my opinion, according to Pro Football Focus, I agree with them. He's one of the top 7 guards in the game. And he makes $2.1 million. Top guy makes 20. What do you do? What do you do at the end of the year? Rookie deal does help out. When do you start at least next March? Do you pay Dickerson 20 or do you pay Devontae 20? How do you do it? I think he's a free agent in 25. Who are you going to pay $20 million? So you guys want to pay Hassan Reddick 20, right? You want to pay Malata 15. That's what he's making. Lane's going to make 30 and 25. AJ's making 25. A.J. Dickerson is ranked 55th among guards in average annual salary. And he's a top 7. Quarterback makes 55. Reddick makes 15. Some big money coming around the table here. Slay, Fletcher, and Kelsey will be off the books. 15, 30, 45. And so you're saying those salaries, so you're going to go corner in the draft. Where did Yale have that? Off the books. So that means you have to go back into the draft or free agency again, right? Dickerson will get a minimum of $17 million. Watch. Oh, absolutely. Minimum. If Dickerson continues his growth and his continued play, he's a $20 million a year guy. Personally, I think he's better than the guy in Indianapolis. I think he's better than him. I think he's one of the top 3 guards, left guards too, in the league. I do. I think he's a fabulous football player. So you need a new corner after next year. The center moves over. You got that covered already, which is great. Okay? So you really believe, well, because of the cap hits on Jalen. Yeah. The cap hits on Jalen save you, don't they? They save you to be able to have maybe 2 $20 million guys where the Cowboys can't. Seals, if you were Howie, what move are you making today? Personally, I'd make a call to Tampa and I hire Devin White as a rental. I give the Bucks a 2nd-round pick for him. And if I sign him or not, I don't care. If it wins me the Super Bowl, who cares? And the Bucks pay half his salary and I pay half his salary. If you tell me that I can rent an airplane to get me around the world on 1 tank of gas, but I'm not going to own it, but I get around the world and I complete my mission, what the hell do I care if I lost a 2nd-round draft choice? If one guy could help me win a Super Bowl. You're in a position where the Eagles are 2-3 players away from having a complete team like they did a year ago. You're so close to having a complete team. And if you had a Mike linebacker, if you had a Mike linebacker, okay, if you had a Mike linebacker, I'm giving up a 2nd-round draft choice for that. You know, some teams like the Rams and Bucks are giving up 3 years of shitty football for a Super Bowl. You're telling me you wouldn't give up a 2nd-rounder? Hey, by the way, you just cut a 3rd-rounder. Don't make it sound like you guys covet these linebacker picks. You cut these guys like they're on conveyor belts in Philly. I mean, constantly cutting these guys. You never get the linebacker position right. So renting for a linebacker that's a captain on a Super Bowl team who's 25, work a deal out with him. You could have him for 10 years. 10 years. Could you imagine Devin White playing behind Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter for the next decade? You might have the best interior defense in the National Football League. When you want to go there, instead of piecemealing, there's no difference. I think this is a fair comparison. Tell me if I'm wrong, you guys. I think your linebacker core is symbolic of your running back room. Jacoby Dean is DeAndre Swift, and it's the rest of them. Guys you've piecemealed, found. Same with the backs. The linebacker position, it's almost a mirror of the running back room. You got one guy in the room you're high on, Jacoby Dean, DeAndre Swift. The rest of them are dudes. Guys off the street, later round guys. It's the same thing. There's no difference. Look at how they see both. They see both rooms the same. It's like Jacoby Dean is DeAndre Swift. Okay? And the rest of the guys, like one guy in the building that they're high on. Priorities are the lines, and that's why they win too. I absolutely. But again, if you don't have the quarterback that can throw you into a Super Bowl and win it, and you got deficiencies in your second, here, two things that let the Eagles down when it mattered the most. You're limited at special teams, and you're limited on defense, even when you had the second-ranked defense in the league last year. Because once you couldn't get home, Mahomes and Reed exposed you. Good quarterbacks expose the Eagles. That's your major problem last 2 years. Good quarterbacks expose you. I mean, I don't have to show you and tell you again about all these quarterbacks that put up high percentage numbers. See, again, when it comes time to beat those guys, you can't. Hey, you're going to beat the Daniel Joneses and the shitbox Kirk Cousins of the world and a young Trevor Lawrence. You're going to beat those guys. You're not beating the elite quarterbacks with that defense. Not piecemealed like that. Not in critical positions. Tone said something a couple months ago. If you don't have 4 linebackers on the field, you can't play defense in today's NFL. Well, don't contradict yourselves. He's right. You don't have 4 linebackers to play against Josh Allen. And that's funny. I hear people go like this all the time. Dude, Josh Allen had a sensational year in the AFC. It's tougher to win that conference than the Super Bowl. For all the shit you guys say, turns this over, he's not good. He won one less game, and the only reason he won one less game than you, because they didn't play it. It sounds like this guy completely sucked. He won one less game. He only played 16 games last year. They're 13-3. JM goes, Josh Allen threw 107 more passes. Of course he did. That's why there's a higher turnover rate, because there's more chances of turnover with the pass than there is with the run. Common sense. That's right. Today's NFL, what did Mahomes have in turnovers? How many picks did he have this year? Did he have double-digit picks? Did Mahomes have double-digit picks? I know he threw 44 touchdowns. Did he have double-digit? Did he have 9? 44 TDs and 9 picks is exceptional, if that's what it was. Saying Allen sucks is just a lie. I don't know why people jump on the window and say that. I don't have shit on Allen to prop up Hurts. I don't have to shit on Allen to prop up. No, you don't. Jalen's his own dude. Okay? This is always a good one too, Tone, right here. When people say this, that, well, he doesn't get to Super Bowls. So do you think it'd be tougher in the AFC for the Eagles to get to the AFC championship game every year if you had to play those teams on a weekly basis? Do you really believe that you think it'd be easier for you? What do you think the Chiefs would do in the NFC? Mahomes had 12 picks doubled Jalen's picks. Threw the ball more. Duh. Duh. The Eagles in the AFC would struggle like everyone else, every other good team. How did that struggle? But you're going to lose a game that you shouldn't have because there's so good at teams over there. You could lose a game 38-37. It could be the NFC title game or the AFC title game, and you go, damn, we're just as good. And you are. Okay? Mahomes had double the picks. Double the picks. Double the touchdown throws, too. Double the TDs. He doubled them up on TDs and picks. More attempts. Of course. He throws a higher percentage turnover play every play. Jalen doesn't play turnover ball, which in end is the best football. Mahomes has to do that. He has to throw the ball 700 times to win. Jalen doesn't. He could throw the ball 450 and get away with it. It's not because he's not talented. It's because he doesn't have to do it. What would you rather do to win a game? Would you rather run the ball 38 times or throw the ball 38 times? I think this is it in a nutshell. If you could win a football game, would you rather throw the ball 38 or run the ball 38? Now, it's not sexy and cool. Running the ball 38 times. It's not really good television. Okay? I'd rather run it too. Seals, Jalen Hurts only threw the ball 32 times in that game. Well, I think that's kind of high. I'd like to see him around 28. And I'd like to see the team 38 carries. If I could win every game running the ball 38 times, I'm all in on that. Here, this is the difference between – but here, this is why Mahomes and the Chiefs lose to the Colts a year ago. It's just because of what I said. Do you know how impossible – how many times have you watched a football team where a guy throws the ball for 500 yards and they lose? You run the ball for 250 times against someone, you ain't losing that game. It's a no-moss game. Dude, there is nothing you can do when you got 5 human beings beating the shit out of your 4 guys and they're just running you into the dirt. It's like playing with your arm tied behind your back. But when a guy get this, when a guy throws the ball 60 times, what does that do to you? All you need is 3 incompletes. Because why? 3 incompletes, stop the clock, I get the ball back, I get a chance to get back in the game. When you're running the ball, 14-play drives, that's what made the Eagles so unbeatable last year. Those opening 10-play plus drives, 11 plays, 13 plays. How many times they jump up on people? 7-0. And again, those teams sucked last year. But you know what they did? They made them look like they sucked. And they ran them into the ground. When you have an identity like that and you're killing teams like that, you're undefensible. So let me get this right. Here's the key to the Eagles' offense. They pound you, and then they make you submit with those wideouts and tight end. Hard to defend a team like that. Hard to defend a team. It's also why we lost the ball game. We couldn't run in the second half, and it killed our form. That's exactly correct. When Shane Steichen and Nick Sirianni completely got out coached in the second half by going away from the run game, I don't give a shit how many times Miles Sanders puts the ball on the carpet. That's your formula. When you take one of the components of your formula away, you have no chance to win. Because your quarterback's not going to throw you out of a loss. Now, look, he played great, but he needed a run game. Dude, you're up 10. Run the ball. Run the clock off. Make Mahomes have to beat you with 1 minute left in the game. If it gets down to that, they couldn't stop him. And get this. Well, Sills, we didn't have that many 3 and outs. They only needed 2. Get this. Yale goes, they lost faith in Sanders after the fumble. Guy went 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns. You put on the shelf is bad coaching. He was part of the formula that got you there. If I'm going to win a game or lose a game, I'm going to go and lose and win a game with the guys that got me there. And then at the end of the day, we'll all look at each other in the locker room, but we're in this together. I'm not going to start effing pulling guys because of this or that. We're all in this together. That's poor coaching. Hey, let it live and die with the men that got you there. Andy Reid coached his ass off, too. That was the best I've ever seen him, and I've said that. Okay? Run that thing. He's got 2 fumbles. So what you did was, guess what they did? By not using Sanders, you let the Chiefs crawl back in the game. Is that right? What was more important? Him having that ball on the ground, or you allowing the Chiefs to come back on you because you took part of your formula away? Poor coaching. That's decision making. How about this? I'd have had Jalen run more. But then again, he was hurt. He was hurt. See, those were the 2 secret components that cost them that game. Hurts was hurt and couldn't take over for the running because they got away from Sanders. Hurts couldn't do it because of the shoulder. And once that was taken away, half the attack was taken away, and it allowed Kansas City to get back in on you. That's what's going to happen this year against shittier teams if you can't run with that formula. And if your defense is a sieve this year, you better hope that offense has the formula where you go on those 11-play drives like a year ago. If you have 3 and outs early in the year, your defense is going to be putting that offense in great field position every game because they're not going to be able to stop people. They're just not. Ronald goes, I have to give Chris Jones a lot of credit because I did not think he could do what he did against our old line. I thought he had a great game against Sayamalo. He did. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's going to be a $30 million guy. Okay? Dude, Dak loves watching Super Bowls. That guy better straighten that shit out real quick. I'll tell you that. Jalen was running and throwing it and lost. Remember something, Turner. You've played 2 games against Mahomes, and he's beaten you twice. I don't care what Jalen looks like. So telling me he's Kirk Cousins when he plays. So Jalen Hurts is Kirk Cousins when he plays the Chiefs, right? Has better numbers, but loses. Ask Tone how that feels. Nobody gets credit for the silver medal. Only bleeding hearts like it. Oh, I'm on the podium. Okay. There's podium people, and then there's champions. Who are you? Do you want to be a champion, or do you want to be a podium guy? I'm in the top 3. Yeah, what the hell? Podium guys suck. I mean it. Have to have that. Have to have that formula. 5-5-7-3, 3 points. Mine's will have been 33 points. 33 points or 3 points. So you're quantifying losses now? Well, we only lost by 3. Okay. I never looked at a loss like that. As far as I'm concerned, I might as well have lost by 50 if I lost. 50 or 5 or 1. A loss is a loss, dude. I don't quantify losses. Well, it was only a 3-point loss. Okay. You must be a podium guy. All right. Hey. Please move on. We're dealing with participation trophy babies. I can't take it. That's a good point now for me to do this here. Don't forget, man, with the preseason football games, and you podium lovers, you get a chance to go over to my friends over at Hooters, King of Prussia. You bet, man, all your fantasy football leagues and everything for you to have your drafts, watch your favorite football team for exhibition football. The official home of Philadelphia Eagle fans is the Hooters in King of Prussia. It's a 2023, National Football Show's official home, and we're so looking forward to it too, man. World famous Hooter girls are going to be there. Tuesday specials, buy 10 wings, get 10 boneless wings. 1983, one of the traditions that we have had at Hooters forever, over 40 years. That is all you can eat Wednesdays, kids eat free on Saturdays, much more. The big screens they have, places have been packed. It was packed for like the Hall of Fame game. Wait till this week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at Hooters King of Prussia, man. It's going to be off the charts there. 6 items, $6, 240 North Gulf Road in King of Prussia. And when you go to Hooters, do me a favor. Tell them Big Sil sent you.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com. EAGLES, Eagles.
Jesus, man. So let me get this right. Jeffrey Lurie bought on May 6th, 1994, from Norman Bremen, the Philadelphia Eagles for $195 million. Is that right? $195 million. Well, the Eagles now are the 9th highest valued NFL team at $5.95 billion. Dude, wait a minute. I mean, I'm not very good at math. So let me figure this out here. Wait. So in 30 years, his value has gone up from 200 million. Well, not even 200 million. Yeah, 200 million to $5 billion. Wow, man, the NFL, man, they're stealing money. They're stealing money. I'll tell you this. I'll tell you a quick story here before we move on here. I was in Dallas for the Cowboys' first camp with Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson. And Donald Trump went to practice. He was there. They're all friends. Bill Clinton actually went to school with Jimmy and Jerry at Arkansas. So they know all these guys, you know. Trump leaves Thousand Oaks, where we used to practice, and says that Jerry Jones got taken. I think he bought the team for like $154 million. He mortgaged everything. He put up every single cent he owned. I mean, he may have had $1 million left in the bank to operate the Cowboys. $154 million. He put everything, all of his oil machinery. Get this. What made Jones so insane was that he couldn't drill a well to save his life. This guy drilled more dry dusters than any Texas oil man in history. So he had all this equipment. So you know what he ended up doing? He ended up building a company with all this drilling equipment, and he sold them to all the people that were drillers. That's how he made his money. Comes back years later. He was going to buy the Chargers. His dad talked him out of it. Stephen Jones has told the story right on this show here. And $154 million later, the Cowboys are valued at $9.2 billion. $9.2 billion. And if you sold the Cowboys, you'd probably have a value now in a market value of $12 billion. Jerry Jones, man, I mean, $12 billion. And right now it's valued, according to Forbes, at 9.2. Giants are second at 704. How about look at the Rams? Stan Kroenke, 6.94. You ain't getting 6.94 in St. Louis. Stan Kroenke, hey, people in St. Louis, he didn't move that team because you didn't give him a stadium. Here's the number one reason he moved it. He's third on that list. Think about that, and how the NFL lies to you about building these stadiums. Those stadiums are for like net wealth and to raise their wealth. But it's about the market you live in. You think the Rams are going to be valued at $6.94 million in St. Louis? $6.94 billion in St. Louis? Hell no. They're going to be valued way half that. Patriots, 6.7. Guy buys a team from Victor Kiam. It's in the Boston area. Gets tax breaks in the Foxborough area. Look at the 49ers. The 49ers moved out of San Francisco and down to Santa Clara. Do you know why? They got better tax breaks They built that stadium with bonds. You were never going to have a city like San Francisco or any city in California put bonds together so that you could build them a stadium. Now with earthquake shit, name me a stadium that was built with public money in California in the last 20 years. Can you name me one? Arenas? Anything. Name me one. The owner of the Golden State Warriors had to pay the money for it himself. You will never see taxpayers in California build a sports facility ever again in California. That's not going to happen. Look at Washington, $6.05 billion. Look at the Raiders, $5.77 billion. And the NFL wanted Mark Davis to keep that team in that shitbox Oakland with all those shitty city executives who lied like rugs. Wanted to keep him, and I shouldn't say that about the people because Oakland's a really cool city. I meant more the politicians. They're liars and awful, awful human beings. They lie so much in California. They lied to Al. I would never have moved that Raider team back to Oakland with the lies that Jerry Brown told them. My good friend Amy Trask doesn't want me to ever to bring that up with her, and so I respect her. Now he's in Vegas, and he tripled the value of the Raiders. Incredible. Forrest goes like this: FedEx Field needs to be replaced. Get this, FedEx. You think he's going to pay Josh Harris? So let me get this right. Oh. Hey, Tone, you better put your black Sixers hat on for this one. So Josh Harris is going to go to taxpayers in D.C. and ask them to build him a stadium. And he's going to turn around and go to Philadelphia taxpayers and ask you to build him an arena? Are you really going to build Josh Harris an arena downtown? I could see if that guy just owned the Sixers. You're going to debate that. So Josh Harris is going to ask the fan bases in D.C. and Philly for places that he completely benefits from, all the tax breaks, raising ticket prices at your expense. And every time you go to a Sixer game, the money you put into that and into his sports business, he's going to be funneling into the Washington Commanders business plan as well. So you're going to be almost helping fuel a new campaign to build a stadium in D.C. with the money you're going to build him with an arena in downtown Philadelphia? You understand what I'm saying? So every time Little Tone goes and buys himself a hot dog or a drink at Wells Fargo, he's going to take that money and help him build a stadium in Washington so they can come down and beat you. That's solid. That's quite a solid plan there. Someone would go, well, still, shouldn't other people have the ability to own multiple franchises and multiple sports properties? Yeah. If you're winning. Barb goes, he funnels it to the Devils too. Barb, it's Jersey. Barb, it's Jersey. Hey, Barb, doesn't everything get funneled to Jersey? You know, I mean, that's where the waste goes, you know, from New York. And also, like I told you, there's a reason the statue faces the other way, Barb. You know, so everybody in Jersey can kiss the Statue of Liberty's ass. There's a reason for that. The statue faces the other way. He became a billionaire by stabbing Milken in the back and recruiting all the junk bond. JM would really get in my shit if I told him Michael Milken. Hey, JM, I worked at Bear Stearns. I'm sure he'll go really high in on me on that one. My boy Jason Cole, we're going to talk NFL at the bottom of the hour at 5:30. A lot of storylines as we go into the first week of exhibition football. Get his thoughts on what he saw at the Hall of Fame, too. Obviously, he's a Hall of Fame voter. We'll do that at 5:30 Eastern. I want to show you how hard it is to find a franchise quarterback. And you're lucky in Philadelphia what you got going on right now. You really are, okay? Hour number 3, Power Hour. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction. Go with trust.
Go Birds!
And go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake a mom. Mama go up, mama!
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Let me ask you a question here. And my friend Jason Cole from Yahoo will join us at the bottom of the hour. Hall of Fame voter. We'll get his thoughts on the upcoming first week of exhibition football. Maybe reflect back a little bit on what happened at the Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame voter as well, as we said. How do you think Jim Irsay would have taken care of the Jalen Hurts contract talk? How do you think he would have handled that? Jim Irsay dealing with a $255 million deal. How do you think he would have handled Jalen? Here, let's do this. If Jalen Hurts was in Indianapolis, do you think he'd have the same success he's having right now in Philadelphia? They got a great running back. They got a pretty good offensive line. They got the best guard in football. Defense isn't bad. They're not a bad team. Do you think Jalen Hurts could take that organization to the playoffs? I don't. I don't think it's just Jalen. I don't think Joe Burrow could either. When you got an owner that undermines every single thing your front office does, can I tell you what it would be like in Philly? That would be like Jeffrey Lurie coming in. That's right. I don't think anybody, Tone. That would be like Jeffrey Lurie coming in after every deal that Howie cuts and says some snide or shit remark. I wouldn't have paid him that. He did. I'll tell you this. There's no way in hell Jeffrey Lurie agrees with every decision Howie Roseman makes. But you know the one thing he doesn't do? He doesn't undermine him. Jerry Jones undermines Mike McCarthy every day. You know how? Talking shit on Dak. There it is. Look at Jim Irsay undermining Shane Steichen with Jonathan Taylor, best player on the team. You're already undermining your star player. Look at those two owners get in the way of their coaches. Jeffrey Lurie, there's not a chance in hell he agrees with everything he does. But he has trust in Howie. And the more Howie wins, the more trust he gets, which means this, the more latitude he gets. You know how that's paid out? In contract extensions. Howie Roseman is trusted by his owner to do what's in the best interest of the team, and maybe not Jeffrey Lurie. And it's working. It's a prime example of an owner that it's not staying out of the way. It's not letting his emotions get the best of him. That's why that guy, you know how many times he must have written checks? Here, Alshon Jeffries, there was $5 million on the salary cap last year, still from that shitbag deal he had. He had $38 million off that Wentz deal, still on the cap a couple years back. Had to go to the owner and say, we effed up on Wentz. Let's give $255 million to Hurts now. Went to the Super Bowl. Okay. Jerry is undermining Dak Prescott right now. Why would you undermine a guy you pay $50 million to? What if you have to trade him? And you've been talking shit on him all year. Can't throw picks. Guy threw a ton of picks. Guy's not playing great. Cooper Rush looks unbelievable. We're in the preseason, dog. You haven't even played an exhibition game yet, and you're already going knee deep into a guy's ass here. That's not how you run a team, dude. Joseph goes, Howie Roseman is a great GM. Howie Roseman's a great GM because he's given the latitude to be a GM. Most places don't give GMs the latitude to be good GMs. There's always something because you know why? Money clouds judgment. With these salaries being so high, front offices are more involved than ever before. Hey, when you're paying a guy $2-3 million, owner's going to go like this, especially when I just showed you the value of the team. They've been going up like this for 30 years. Well, those salaries haven't been like that going up. You know what's crazy? The money of the teams have been continually going up. Now that the player salaries are up there now, you got a $50 million commitment on somebody, you're going to have the front office more involved in that than you did in the past. And there's going to be more voices in the room when you're making $50 million. That's for one player. Exactly. I spoke on this earlier, how he's able to be the GM because the owner allows it. Look at New York, for instance. Look at those deals that they've cut. It undermines the coach, his ability to coach. When you're putting investments in the wrong place, I'm sorry, guys. I'm not giving Saquon Barkley a shitload of money. I'm just not. I'm getting better receivers. I want my money to go to, hey, would you rather pay Saquon Barkley or would you rather pay A.J. Smith and Devontae Smith money? You know? Who would you rather pay money to? This is how the Eagles do business. Here are the shittiest owners in the NFL, in my opinion, top 5. And again, it's not that they don't have good players on their team, but here are guys that get in the way. Stephen Ross, the guy with the Dolphins. So what you decided to do was absolutely backstab Brian Flores and tank games and make your general manager subvert and be a Judas to the head coach down there so that you could lose games. And you even offer the head coach money to lose ball games, to fix them, basically. What kind of owner is that? That you have to look at that and you have an owner that believes in that. You're out there breaking your ass trying to win a game, whether it's 2 games a year or 12 games a year. You're trying to break your ass to win. Better your career, further your career. And you got an owner who doesn't give a shit about you. The Dolphins are not going anywhere to a Super Bowl. Do you think there's any coincidence that the Miami Dolphins have sucked out loud since Joe Robbie? Hey, Yale, think about this. When Joe Robbie owned the team, they were constantly in the AFC Championship game and constantly a contender. When you had Wayne Huizenga and you have Stephen Ross, the Bengals have been better in the last 35 years. There's no coincidence that when you got a football guy out of the ownership with Joe Robbie, you can't win. This guy lives in New Jersey listening to sports talk radio on WFAN and that other thing, ESPN. And he listens to those guys talking, thinking that's what people are thinking about down in South Florida. That's not what they're thinking about. The Giants have had a great history. The Jets, compared to the Dolphins, come on, dog. The Dolphins have had a superior history. But that's all it is now. He's a terrible owner. He's an art dealer. Maniac, how you doing, brother? We're going to look at the NFL. I'm going to show you where you are compared to the other teams and having the most important position solidified. I got the McCaskey family. How about this? Virginia McCaskey, understand who she is related to and who her dad was. Sorry, Virginia. You're not George Halas. You're not George Halas. That organization, since the McCaskeys have run that thing, have driven it into the toilet. The Bears are the worst franchise. And now they're talking about leaving Soldier Field to go to some horse park somewhere out in the suburbs. Yeah, that'll endear Bear fans. Do you know that would be like moving the Eagles to New Jersey? Hey, where the Eagles play? Pennsauken. What? They moved the Eagles to Pennsauken. Yeah, it's a polo field, whatever. bought a stadium outside of Chicago. You're going to move the Bears out of Soldier. I'd rather have you play at Wrigley again. I got the McNair family. You see, the McNair family, you know who he reminds me of? And the McNair family reminds me of the Culverhouses who owned the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They say they're not racist, but they have racist tendencies. I don't know. I've never heard a player who's ever played there that was a star player say that they enjoyed playing for the Texans. Have you? I mean, I've never heard a player ever say, hey, I really enjoyed being a Texan. Hey, one of my favorite things on the planet, being a Texan. Right? I told another Eagle fan we have a ton of participation trophies. He told me we only have one Super Bowl in 57 years of existence. Is that Biden economics map? 57 years of existence. The Eagles have been around 57 years. You might want to think that one out a little more. Hey, you might want to think that out a little more. Okay? Yeah, I'm talking about the current dudes. Look at Jim Irsay. Phew. What a lightning rod. I mean, Jim Irsay. Who could I compare him to? Who's the guy that ran a company? This guy's like he ran Enron. Some of you wouldn't even know who Enron is, so bad comment. This guy here, though, man. Dude, get this. See, where's that sheet? See this sheet here with all the NFL values? The NFL teams go up in value, and it's idiot-proof. You can be an idiot like Jim Irsay or Michael Bidwell, who's number one, and still the value of your team goes up. It's the only business in America that you could be the biggest buffoon and your business value goes up 17 to 26% every year when the calendar turns, first of the year. Have you ever, if you ran your business the way Jim Irsay runs his business, you'd be out of business. This guy is so awful at running his business. Yet when January comes, the value of his business goes up 17 to 26%. It's the only business in America that if I owned a McDonald's and I didn't sell McDonald's hamburgers, and then when the new year came, my value of my business went up, I'd lose it. You could be the worst pro football owner in America. You bet he's a billionaire off his dad's ass. Bob Irsay is the guy that moved the team in the middle of the night out of Baltimore because he got a sweetheart of a deal. He basically pulled what they did with the Dodgers in New York. They gave him free land. He built the stadium, that RCA dome they used to have down there. And when they got there, the land was free. So he moved the team and he got all the free tax breaks. That's what they did with the Dodgers. That's how they got the Dodgers out there. They gave the Dodgers Chavez Ravine with no taxes, no nothing. Displaced all the Mexican families there and gave them all that. That's why Mexicans never went to Dodger games early on. Because they kicked them out of their homes. Everyone's like, well, the Dodgers moved out there, Yeah. They kicked people out of their homes to give the Dodgers that. That's what they did at Indianapolis. Jerry Jones's dad wasn't exactly broke. He was an insurance guy. No, they had money. Not the money like this. Okay? Not the money like this. All right, before Jason Cole comes on, I want to show you something here. how important it is that the Eagles got their quarterback down on a contract here. Okay? I went through and I looked at the AFC and the NFC on teams that are set at quarterback and teams that aren't set at quarterback. I want to show you where the league is right now. I'll do the AFC, then NFC. Are the Bills set at quarterback? Or do they need a quarterback? No. Do the Dolphins? I say yes. Tua. They do need a quarterback. The Patriots, I think Daniel Jones is not good enough. I think they need one. The Jets, right now, no. The Browns, I pushed on this one and went yes and no. You know why? You're tied into that $230 million guaranteed contract, whether you like it or not. You're going to have to make Deshaun Watson work. You have to make this work. Okay? You have to make this work. They have no choice but to make this work. So they're set, really, but you better hope he wins. The Bengals, they don't need a quarterback. Steelers, Kenny Pickett is horseshit. No, thank you. The Ravens. No and yes. I pushed on this one. I know you're going, Lamar Jackson? Well, you gave him a lot of money. Style of play. What if he gets hurt again? And all that money you gave him. Are you really going to sit there and go like this? I'm assuming no, that they're set at quarterback. But how many years are you going to go with him missing half the season? Titans, absolutely, you need a quarterback. Jags, no, I think you're set. I like Trevor. Texans, they just got Stroud down there. They're set for a bit. The Broncos, here's another push. Doesn't matter. You gave him that money and gave up those first-round draft choices for Russell Wilson. In the immediate, you got to make that shit work, dude. You got to make that work. Chiefs, no, they're set. Raiders, they need a quarterback. Chargers, no. They just gave Herbert that money. Colts, no, they got Anthony Richardson, at least for now. So, 5 teams in the AFC need quarterbacks. 7 do not. I had 3 on a push. Now let's look at the NFC before Jason Cole comes in here. Does Dallas need a quarterback? Does Dallas need a quarterback? How many people think the Cowboys need a quarterback? Look at Dami. Him and I kind of butt heads, but I'm with him. I think so. I think so. Quango's not as bad as the Niners. So you think if Dak was on the Niners, he'd be bad? I don't. I said I think the Cowboys need a quarterback. Giants. I think they do. The Giants don't. So I put no. You don't give a guy $46 million and think you need a quarterback, do you? Don't contradict yourself. Eagles, no. Washington, yes. The Bears. Maybe that question should be asked at the end of this year. Should we do that with Chicago? Should we do that with Chicago? Do it at the end of the year? To be determined in Chi-Town. Tone. So we're going in here now into his third year on August 9th, and we're not sold on Justin Fields. You know, it has a little bit of Hurts to it. Maybe he has this leap. Get this. Maybe shoulda, woulda, coulda, all that. I get it. The Lions. Jared Goff's weird to me, man. I hated him coming out of Cal. I did. I hated him. I thought he stunk. But there's something about him. He's winning. And he's winning in freaking Detroit, someplace Stafford couldn't win. He's turning shit around. He went to a Super Bowl. I don't know, man. He's not as bad as I thought he is. How about this? When I say Jared Goff, it's kind of growing on me. There's something about him I like. So I'm going to say the Lions don't. Packers, absolutely. Shit, the Vikings came out publicly today with a lack of vote of confidence on Cousins. They're going for a quarterback. The Falcons need a quarterback. The Saints? I feel like Goff is getting better with age. Me too. The more experience he gets, I think Jared Goff's getting better. Like a bunion, Ron says. And I guess that's why bunions hurt sometimes and they don't, right? It's kind of who Goff is. Sometimes he kills you, sometimes he makes you look good. I get it. The Bucs need a quarterback. Carolina doesn't. They got Bryce Young now. I think the Rams need one. I guess the Cardinals don't. How about this? Let me ask you this question on the Cardinals. If Kyler Murray comes back and he looks terrible, and you have the ability to potentially have the number 1 and number 2 players that you could draft in an upcoming draft, do you understand what's happening here with the Cardinals? They're going to have like 13 draft choices. And there's a potential they could have the 1 and 2 picks in next April's draft because of the maneuvering they did in this past April draft. Do you understand that? They could have the 1st and 2nd pick and 12 other picks in the NFL draft. If Kyler Murray comes back and this thing's a train wreck, do you trade him? Start over again? Potentially. I mean, you could trade Kyler Murray to Tampa, maybe Miami, maybe New Orleans. He'll have a place to land. And people will look at that money and go, it's 46. I know, right? And it's not against Arizona to start over. They've already shown you they did it with Josh Rosen. Plus, the head coach gets another reprieve. You could have 3 ones and the first 2 picks in the April draft. Boy, I'll tell you what, you better make sure that Jonathan Gannon's your coach, and he's the right guy. If you're going to have all that draft equity, I want to make sure he's the guy. He better show me he can coach this year. Because if he can't, he's not. I'm getting rid of the coach and the quarterback. That's what I would do. I would make sure that I hired the most skilled personnel people I could because of the amount of draft choices and the value picks I'm getting. Let me say this to you, man. The center of the world in the NFL draft next year is going to be in Arizona because of the amount of equity they have. They have, like I said, there's a chance that everything they did in this past April draft, and I think they're going to go potentially 0-17 this year. That also means that they're going to have draft picks in each of the top 7 rounds at the top of the draft in each round. Top pick in the second, top pick in the third, top pick in the fourth. 2 number ones, potentially 3 number ones. You could build an entirely new, different football team off your NFL draft. Or you could trade things away to get players that are out there maybe you want. Free agent wide receiver. That's going to be something to keep an eye on next year is Arizona. Because again, before I bring Jason Cole on, here's Arizona. You had the first 2 picks in the draft because of what you did in this past April. And if you're not sold on this kid, Kyler Murray, you potentially move him to Miami, New Orleans, have 3 ones and 12 picks. You better make sure Jonathan Gannon is your guy. Because you better have personnel people in there. And Arizona hasn't had good personnel people. They haven't had good personnel people in there since Ken Wisenhunt. And they went to a Super Bowl with Ken Wisenhunt. And I would say Bruce Arians. All right, there's a lot of storylines going on now with the NFL. Really, the exhibition season starts Thursday, and then obviously Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And this is the first week. Let's get our friend, Hall of Fame voter Jason Cole in here now with us. Jace, how you doing, brother?
I'm great. What's going on? I'll take issue, though. I thought Steve Keim did a pretty good job for most of the years that he was there in Arizona. They've between Wisenhunt and Arians, they had pretty good depth. Now, I even thought in the last few years they had better depth. The problem is that the quarterback thing went sideways, and they hired the wrong coach. The coach didn't match up with the talent that they had. So I'll leave it at that.
How about this? Do you think ownership got in the way of Steve?
No, I think, Michael Bidwell there are negative things out there about Michael Bidwell. But he's not like his old man who really was cheap. Okay. He's invested in the team better than his old man or his even his grandfather ever did. And I don't think Bidwell interferes with personnel decisions. He makes decisions on things like coaching decisions and which that's his purview. GM and coach, that's the decisions he has to make. He doesn't interfere with personnel. That's not his deal.
Do you believe that Jalen Hurts is the second best quarterback in the National Football League? And the reason I ask you this, what?
No, I don't think that. I think Jalen Hurts is awfully good. I probably wouldn't put him in my top 5.
I agree with you.
No, but if I would say this, if you told me that's my quarterback, I feel like I can build around him and I can have a fair fight with you. I'll say that. Just like last year, they had a fair fight going in. They could have won that Super Bowl if a couple of things just go differently, right? They win that game, and he had a hell of a year. Second best quarterback in the league? No, and because I always come back to this, he's a guy you have to build around in terms of his running ability rather than his passing ability. And that's hard to do long term in the NFL. I don't want to build around running quarterbacks. I want to build around guys who can throw from the pocket. And then if they have the ability to move, that's my second best. That's my second most important trait.
The Eagles are going to play the Ravens this week in their first opening game in the exhibition season. Let me throw this at you here on Lamar Jackson and how I think this guy is athletic. I think he's gifted. I love his personality. I love who the guy is. But at the end of the day, Jace, compared to a guy like Hurts, who just seems to make right decisions on the field. He makes good decisions off the field. Last year, Lamar Jackson was making, in my opinion, some business decisions on his contract, the way it was handled. Did he play? Did he sit out games that he could have played in because it was business decisions? Why doesn't he take that same mentality, Jace, and apply that to his game? Slide, get down, throw the ball out of bounds. Don't do reckless things on the field, because if he practiced what he preached off the field, wouldn't that benefit him and his health, being able to have these 17-game seasons? Because it just seems to contradict itself.
Look, I'm going to disagree with you on a couple things. I don't think that he has put himself in harm's way that much as a runner. I'll take issue with that. I think what has happened is he's so fast and so electric that he's been able to get away from people for most of his career, and then eventually people are catching up to him, and that's why he's starting to get hurt. He's also not the biggest guy. I mean, what is he? He was barely 200, 205 when he came in. He's kind of built himself up to be about 220. But, he's a long, lean kind of guy, kind of like Randall Cunningham in some ways.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Yeah, guys get hurt like that. And I think the final thing is, okay, I don't know that he made business decisions as much as he was legitimately hurt. I'm not going to get into that part of it, okay? I don't know. But if he's making business decisions, aren't the Ravens also making business decisions?
That was handled on both sides horribly.
Right. I mean, again, Philadelphia did a much better job.
Incredible.
Okay? A much, much better job of getting Jalen Hurts done early so that the risk goes on the earlier side of his career when he's running more, and then they see if he transitions into being a pocket guy. Lamar Jackson will never, ever be a pocket guy. That's just not the kind of quarterback he is. Can he play from the pocket some of the times? Yes. Is that the essential part of his game? No. And that's as simple as it gets. I think I could win games with Lamar Jackson as my quarterback, and Baltimore has won games with Lamar Jackson as their quarterback. The question becomes, can you win a championship with Lamar Jackson as your quarterback? And I think overwhelmingly, it's really hard unless everything around him is perfect. And I think that with Jalen Hurts, it's slightly easier to win a championship with Jalen Hurts than it is with Lamar Jackson.
He is 45-16, Jace. Lamar.
Yeah, that's why he can get you the playoffs. He's really, really good. I mean, like that's a good player. But you and I know that when you play against better defenses,
agreed,
that force you to make plays on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9, where you got windows that are that big, right? That you got to fit a ball. That's not his game. And it's been exposed. And those teams they play disciplined enough football that he's not going to hurt them as a runner as much. So when you force him to be a super accurate thrower, he's not a super accurate thrower. He's a pretty accurate thrower, and he's a fantastic runner. And against normal defenses, that's fantastic. Against good defenses, great defenses, it doesn't work as much. It's sort of like this. Greg Maddux was a Hall of Fame pitcher, one of the best of all time, right? Nobody would ever say anything negative about Greg Maddux. But if you ever look at Greg Maddux's record in the postseason, it becomes a lot more normal in the postseason. Why? Because he's playing against better people all the time who could see through
11-10.
Right. He's not great. He was not as great a postseason pitcher as he was a regular season pitcher. He's good, and Lamar Jackson's really good. I'll take him if you give it to me, and I'll build a team around him, and I feel like I can win games. But he's not the same as these other guys.
I watched a little bit of the clips of Hard Knocks last night. Why am I under this impression? And maybe it's my Northeast mentality, where I'm a pessimist and pissed off at everybody, Jace, where I do this now and I go, why is it that I looked at a guy for 17 years in Green Bay And I saw a guy who was adversarial every week. I saw a guy who was this, and this. And why do I think that he got with a casting director or an agent or someone that they're trying to remake this guy's image in a different light so that they could sell it to me that he's a different dude in New York? And for me, that came off where I thought he was phony. Because, so you're telling me
I haven't
months
seen.
in
I
New
haven't
York.
seen it. I haven't seen it yet. Okay, so I won't.
Yeah, but
speak
6
to
months.
it.
You see his the way he's behaving too. Six months in New York erases how people thought of you in Green Bay. I don't know, man. I just didn't believe it.
I mean, look, maybe he's been part of this is people have called him on the carpet so many times before he's gotten there, right? Before he started a game to say, are you going to be the same kind of prickly guy? Are you going to be the same kind of negative guy? Are you going to be the guy who, stomps all over the coach the way that you did with LaFleur and with McCarthy, right? Are you going to be that negative guy? Are you going to be the guy who only shows up for 50% of the offseason program? And all of a sudden it became a little bit more when he took some criticism for it. All right. Well, of course they canceled last week of practice because he was tired of practicing, but never mind that, right?
Of course
Are
not.
you right? Aaron is, yes, setting himself up for what is the next career path. Okay. He wanted to be host of Jeopardy. He said that. Okay. He tried his hand at this TV
So
stuff.
you think he's all in?
I think he's all in all over the place.
Okay.
And that's hard. That's hard. Now, hopefully he's all in enough as a quarterback with the Jets that they get the most out of him, because that team, that has a chance. They got a real chance, especially if he's really, really good. But yeah, he's got to be all in. But I think, there are other things that are going on in his life that he has an eye on that. And that's always troubling. Like, how football works. Either it's 100% you're in every single day, focused on it, or you're kind of out. Like when Tiki Barber at the end of his career was doing that whole thing when, he was trying to be on the Today Show, right?
Yeah.
It's like, come on, Tiki, you're not that guy. You're close.
There was a reason no one gave him job opportunities when he wanted to get back in the league, because no one liked him.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, it's a very careful thing. If you call it him being a phony, I'm not going to argue with him. I'm not going to argue with you calling him out as a phony. But I will also say this. I'll take that guy. We've already talked about Jalen Hurts, and we've talked about, Lamar Jackson. I mean, it ain't even a debate. I'll take that. I'll take Aaron Rodgers today over those two guys.
Oh, he's a first ballot. I mean,
right.
There's
He's
no
one
question.
of the greatest throwers of all time.
Absolutely. There's no
that.
doubt about it. Two last questions here for you. Dak Prescott, is it me or is it Jerry sick and tired of waiting? That it just seems that there's his patience level has definitely been shown this, and he's usually not as singular on one guy, especially as quarterback. The way Cooper Rush is great. This guy's having a great camp. Holy shit. 3 picks today he threw, 2 the other day. I mean, and Jerry's calling him out. You think we're here at the end here where 2023 is going to be, hey, you're either going to do it or you're not. And we're going to have to make a key decision on you because in 2025, your contract is up. I mean, is this a do or die year for him?
I don't know. I just always go back to look at the sum total of Dak Prescott. And is he Danny White or is he Tony Romo? Right? Is he just a guy who's holding the reins of that?
Do I have to have any of them?
Right. Well, I think but that's the question that Jerry's asking himself right now, right? Do I have that? Do I have Tony Romo? Do I have Danny White? Or do I have Troy Aikman? Well, I'm going to tell you, you got a guy who's a lot more like those other two. Now, he's a tough guy. I like him. Does a lot of good things. Probably, arguably, the second best quarterback in the NFC right now. Gives you a shot to win. Is he the guy that you want to be paying like a Joe Burrow, like like some of these other guys who are the stars on the other side of the slot, like Mahomes and those guys? No, you're probably pretty uncomfortable with that. But also, don't sell me Cooper Rush. I mean, come on, don't do that.
He's trying to sell me Brandon Weeden one year too. I mean, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, come on, like Jerry, you can sell me a lot of things, and you can sell me on the fact that you're dissatisfied with Dak Prescott and that you want more. Okay, I don't blame you for that, but don't come back and say Cooper Rush is your answer. Like, don't do that to me.
Okay, Mr. Hall of Famer. By the way, I thought the whole thing was fantastic. I thought the speeches were great. I got five guys for you here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
First off, what'd you think of the whole ceremony?
Great. I loved it. Like I'm a Zach guy, you know that.
I love Klecko, man.
Yeah, Klecko was great. But, when Zach talked about Junior, like that was really, I love those heartfelt moments when you can see it in a guy's face, how touched they are. So that's special to me. And you get, usually you get 3 or 4 of those every year at these kind of ceremonies, and this did not disappoint.
Absolutely not. And Junior Seau, man, when I was down in Florida doing radio, hey brother, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to get this. Brother. Hey brother, play the ukulele. Couldn't play it to save his life. But I'll tell you what, man, what a ball player. Okay, I got 5 guys for you. Ready?
Okay. What am I supposed to do?
Greenwood, 5-time Pro Bowler, Steel Curtain.
Yeah.
Randy Gradishaw, 6-time linebacker or 6-time Pro Bowler, Denver Broncos. Lester Hayes, Defensive Player of the Year, 6-time cornerback All-Pro from the Raiders. Gastineau, Defensive Player of the Year, 6 Pro Bowls. Those guys, what do you make of those guys?
Those are 4. That's 4.
Okay, those are 4. 4. I can't.
Are you going to throw McMichael in there?
No, because I don't think he has the qualifications to be a Hall of Famer. 2 Pro Bowls are not good enough, in my opinion, to get you into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
That's fine. Out of those 4?
Like, why isn't L.C. Greenwood in?
Oh, I mean, look, there's so many Steelers in already that were put.
Wow, Jace, you can't use that as a branch.
There are. I mean, can I say something about this? It's not that I'm justifying it that way. I wasn't in the room when L.C. Greenwood was discussed. Okay.
Oh, that's right. Those are veteran guys. You're on the modern day committee.
Yeah, I'm on the modern day committee. These are veterans, so I haven't discussed these guys.
Okay.
They'll make a recommendation, and I'll see which one it is. If you're talking to me about L.C. Greenwood, look, we've already gotten Donnie Shell and Blunt and Green and the 2 linebackers, and that's not even to mention the 4 guys on. You have 5 guys on offense, the 2 receivers, right?
Quarterback,
and then you got Noel on top of them, right?
The coach.
And so I come back to you got 11 or 12 guys in the Hall of Fame already out of essentially a 40-man roster, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You go to the Green Bay
the personnel guys in.
Right. Okay. And the other one, Dick Haley, has a pretty good argument for himself too, right? There's a lot of guys who deserve it off that Steelers team. And if you go back to the 60s and you get the Packers, right? What do they got? Like 12 or 13 guys who were in all, and that was really a 40-man roster.
Yeah.
Tops, for most of those years.
37 to 40, right?
Right. I mean, I'm like, you're telling me that 1 out of every 4 or 5 guys on a roster was a Hall of Famer? I mean, the Denver Broncos of the late 90s, who had Terrell Davis and Zimmerman and Elway and Shanahan, and like they struggle, and Atwater. They got 4 guys. We're struggling to get those guys in.
But how's a guy dominant. Does Lester Hayes fall in that because of Brown and
a little bit? They all do, because they're all in
he's
that
a
era
6-time Pro Bowler, Defensive Player of the Year.
They all have wonderful credentials. And if any of them go in, I don't have a problem with it. My
other guy was Andre Johnson. That's who it was.
Andre's in the modern group, right?
Yeah, so you can vote on him.
Yeah, we can vote on him, right?
But there's a backlog, like you said to me at that position, right? When you're talking Torrey.
There's a big backlog. I'm just going to say this about the seniors. Over the last few years, we have gotten very close to putting almost too many guys in the Hall of Fame, in my view. Okay.
So you think it should be more like baseball, where like, hey, maybe this year we don't put anyone in?
Well, we put 5. No, I don't think that. But 5 guys is a lot of guys every year.
Yeah. Yes.
And now we're going to put 3 senior guys in this year. 3. And we're going to add 1 contributor. Who's probably going to be, I'm going to guess out of that contributor list, probably Bob Kraft or Mike Shanahan, right? Those are the guys that, but it could be any of them, but those are most likely. Maybe I would go Shanahan, but either one of them is fine with me.
You think the Hall of Fame is being diluted?
I think there's an argument that we're getting there. We're getting really close. I don't want to speak to any specific names that have gone in recently, but if you do a real due diligence, I think that we're going to have a very disproportionate percentage of guys who make it in from the 60s and 70s, from the era when they were talking about 40-man rosters, compared to what's going to happen in the 80s, 90s, and beyond, okay, where we're talking 53-man rosters, and the caliber of the athletes is even better than it was back then, because it's now a full-time job, right? I get worried about that. I really do. And look, we mystify the past and glorify the past. Like, oh, why is this guy not in? He was on a 4-time champion. And look, fast forward to it. How many Patriots are we going to get in off of those teams that won 7 titles, right?
Gronk, and that's it off
Gronk,
that offense.
Gronk, Brady. We have Seymour in. Belichick.
Oh, okay. The defensive guys, sure, maybe that guy. Okay, Revis got in, but
Revis is not really even a Patriot.
No, he's a Jet.
Year. He's a Jet, but he made it for 1 year. He had 1 year with the Patriots. But Bruschi, Harrison, now Ty Law's in, but there's not going to be 12 or 13 guys who make it off that roster. No, it's not going to happen. Nope. Even though the league is deeper than it's ever been, the caliber of play is really, the caliber of the athletes are really, really good. Okay, the caliber of play, okay, that's a practice issue, but the athletes are really good. You're not going to have 10, 12 guys off those Patriots teams make it in, and you're not telling me that they were just as dominant for a period of time as the Packers were in a 10-team, 12-team league. Come on. This is, it's just, to me, like, it's a little bit out of hand, what we're doing.
Absolutely. Chase, I got to roll. Thank you, my friend.
Anytime, dude. Be good.
That was awesome. Great stuff. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com. EAGLES, Eagles.
You know, again, the one thing that I'm going to say that if you take anything away from today's show, the one topic that kind of stood out with me today was the Derek Barnett situation. Why is he on the football team? He has no character. And get this. Could he be a good guy in the locker room? Absolutely. Do teammates like him? I'm very sure of it. I'm very sure of it. When I think of Derek Barnett, hey, Derek Barnett, I can trust you on Saturdays. But on Sundays, I can't. I can trust you Monday through Saturday. There's another example of a guy giving God's hand on his shoulder who kept it there longer than the rest of us and didn't take full advantage of an opportunity that was given to him. Doesn't see that everything is a learning experience. And again, we talk about maturity. We talk about Manziel. Look at Manziel versus Hurts. Manziel's a first-round draft choice. Baker Mayfield's a first-round draft choice. What do those two guys have in common with one another? They're immature. Their maturity level and dedication is questionable. You know what's crazy? Tone and everyone always says this. Hey, when you first have a conversation and you start talking about Hurts, you talk about his dedication and his preparation. You don't even talk about his ability. Because that supersedes. How about this? The number one thing that Jalen Hurts is doing right now, he's outworking more talented players than him. That's why everyone in Philly loves him. He is not Justin Herbert, but he's outworking him. Look at Zach Wilson and these guys and Josh Rosen and outwork them all. That's why you like him. And the most important thing that he's done, he's outworked the ghost of Carson Wentz. Every day Jalen Hurts is a starting quarterback is an indictment on the Eagle organization for having faith in a guy that didn't have what Hurts had. And that's why him being the face of the Eagles erases that. And they erase that ghost. I mean, like, if this thing plays out right, Jalen Hurts could have a statue next to Rocky. Is he the most talented quarterback in NFL history? No. But he won. Shit, man. No one looks at a champion's losses. They're looking for you had the belt. What was his one-loss record? You must be talking about a guy who won a championship then. Hey, man. Thank you, guys. You guys were awesome. Please hit the like button. I can't wait. What's tomorrow? Thursday already? Holy shit. Football starts tomorrow, really. The first week of the exhibition season. Fantastic stuff. Thank you, guys. Please hit the like button. I thought Jason was great, too. Go back and watch some of that if you'd like. Please hit the like button there. Xander, Big Joe, we thank you. Tone, you keep kicking ass, man. Hey, what people don't know is Tone's like this. Just lost power. And, hey, I'm flying an airplane, or I'm on an airplane. And what Tone did was the pilot seat got a little cold. I'm sitting around, flying around myself. I go, hey, are we gonna hit the ground here? He got us. He kept us flying there. Great stuff as always, Tone. Thank you so much. We can't do the show without you. Folks, we can't do the show without you as well. 3 to 6 tomorrow. We shall see you on the flip side.